Hello, I'm Dr. Melody Shoemaker from Columbus State University. The purpose of these sessions are to cover the skills that you'll need to know for your entrance test for the university. I will cover reading and writing, and first we will start with fact and opinion. So let's get started. Fact. What is a fact? A fact is an element of a text that is true based on empirical evidence. An opinion is an analysis worth assessment or perspective that cannot be confirmed or unconfirmed. It is formed by the individual. Now let's look at how to distinguish between a fact and an opinion. A fact is objective. An opinion is subjective. Facts can be proven, opinions cannot be proven. Facts express reality, whereas opinions interpret reality. Facts contain unbiased terms, whereas opinions do not. You may ask, well, what are facts? Facts are statistics, verifiable events, scientific proven data, or measures and procedures proven by research. So those are important things to keep in mind. Statistics, verifiable events, scientifically proven data, and measures and procedures proven by research. Now let's look at a few examples of fact. First of all, instantaneous communication on the internet is now a fact. That statement is provable. We have data to support or to back it up. Next, China is the most populated country in the world. Again, a verifiable piece of information. Columbus is the name of several cities in the United States of America. Again, we have information, we have data, we have documents, manuscripts to support this statement. And lastly, the events in America on September 11th, 2001 were broadcast worldwide. So all these statements are verifiable events. Now let's look at opinions. Okay, so we know opinions are based on someone's personal perspective, their position about a reality as it is. So oftentimes opinions have bias, they have qualifiers, they have modifiers. They use terms like amazing, awful, beautiful, best, better, and such. So if I were to say, I believe New York City is the most exciting place in the United States to live, then that would be an opinion. That's my personal perspective about living in New York City or about living in any city in this country. Next, I just like scary movies. So dislike is, again, my perspective, my position about this type or these types of movies. Honest people are more believable than dishonest people. Again, the way I view these types of individuals. And lastly, it's better to live in Georgia than in Tennessee, okay? That's my perspective. So the terms like believe, dislike, more believable is better are terms that denote opinions. It's also important for you to identify the types of questions that you'll see on the entrance exam, okay? So be familiar with these. First of all, according to the text, which of the following is not true? Another example would be, according to the text, which of the following is true? The author states, all of the following are true or not true, except. Overall, the text uses, and line 3 states. Now, it's important for you to have a good understanding of fact and opinion in order to interpret the purpose of the reading and the tone of the reading, because these are questions that you'll have to address whenever you take the entrance exam. So I'd like to take a few minutes and go over these skills. Purpose. What is purpose? Purpose is the reason why the author has composed the text, okay? The tone is the author's perspective or feeling about the topic expressed in the text. Now let's look at the categories of tone, okay? There are two general categories of tone, objective tone and subjective tone. An objective tone is represented by unbiased language. It's unaligned, it's fair. A neutral tone is also another example of an objective tone, okay? It's impartial, unprejudiced. Or a formal tone, which we'll see in many academic texts, where proper academic language is utilized. The second or the next general type of tone is subjective tone. Subjective tone is very personal, so it's based on the individual and it's familiar. In addition, subjective tone is biased, where the individual or the author expresses personal perspectives. Emotions are used where feelings are indicated, and informal language, which is relaxed and conversational, is often utilized. Now, let's look at some words and techniques that denote objective and subjective language. So we know objective language, when it's utilized, no feelings in favor or against the topic are expressed. So there's a focus on the facts, okay? The author does not use personal pronouns. And also, within the text, the information is detached from the reader because it's very neutral, okay? Subjective language, however, displays feelings in favor or against a topic. So there's a focus on feelings, personal pronouns may be used, and there's a connection made with the reader. Now, in order to identify tone on the exam, you may be asked to identify the text as either subjective or objective, or you may be asked to identify the specific type of objective text or the type of subjective tone. So the type of objective tone or the type of subjective tone. Subjective language could be angry, annoyed, argumentative, okay, so it have a negative connotation or a very positive connotation like humorous, joyous, okay. Objective terms that you may have to be or that you need to be familiar with include factual, impartial, matter of fact, straightforward, truthful. So the answer could be objective or factual, subjective or annoyed. So just keep in mind how you are to approach these types of questions. Now let's look at some sample questions, or sample statements rather. So you'll need to spend more time studying for your algebra test. You'll need to spend more time to note subjective language. I'm enjoying my anthropology classes this semester. I am enjoying is also subjective in nature. We love to support our Georgia football teams. Again, subjective language. So on the exam, you may need to respond with the term subjective or the specific feeling that's expressed. Let's look at the next examples. Students demonstrate various learning preferences in the classroom. This statement is verifiable with research utilizing scientifically proven methods. It's factual in nature, therefore this would be objective, an example of objective tone utilized in the reading. The Career Center has a database of job openings in this area, okay? Again, this is a fact, provable, it's objective in nature. The Student Recreation Center is located next to Stanley Field. Another provable fact, objective, would be the type of tone, or you may have to respond with one of the like terms that we discussed a moment ago on the previous slide. Again, you need to pay attention to the types of question stems, the types of questions that the author uses for the reading selection. So an example of a tone question stem would be, the tone of this text can best be described as. The overall tone of the text is, or the tone of the sentence paragraph, let's say number 7, is. Okay? Now let's look at purpose. So the tone, the type of tone is important to consider whenever you're assessing the purpose of the reading selection as well. Let's look at 3 general categories of purpose first. The first type is to inform. An informative text gives knowledge and information on a topic. It also provides, instruction on a topic. So an informative reading gives knowledge and information on a topic, and it also provides instruction on a topic. The next type is to persuade. A persuasive reading the purpose is to convince the reader to adopt the author's belief. Oftentimes emotions are utilized in these readings in order to sway the reader, okay? So oftentimes emotions are used in order to sway the reader. The next type is to entertain. This type of reading, the purpose is to capture the audience's attention and also to amuse or to engage the reader. There are a few terms and techniques that are important to consider when reviewing the types of purpose. For informative readings, the author will use a series of facts, and the facts are used to explain or to inform the reader. The types of terms that are used are objective terms. They're matter of fact, straightforward. In persuasive readings, the author uses a combination of fact and opinion. So just because you see a fact does not mean that you have an informative reading, because facts can be combined with opinions within persuasive readings, and oftentimes that happens. Words to pay attention to are terms that are argumentative, forceful, critical, controversial, but they can be positive or negative. To entertain, when the purpose is to entertain, writers use language to stir an emotional response. So types of terms to look for are terms that are amusing, entertaining, lively, humorous, or suspenseful. So please keep these terms and these techniques in mind. A few examples of purpose would be, you should study in a quiet place. That would be a persuasive type reading or example of that. The library offers training on how to use the synchronous learning tools. That's a fact. It's objective. This is an informative text. We study 5 hours for our chemistry exam. Okay? Again, this is provable. Jen woke up to the aroma of coffee, bacon, and eggs, and the purpose of this statement would be to entertain. Additional types of purpose that you need to be familiar with in the category of informative text would include to instruct, to discuss, to analyze. In the category of persuasion, to convince, to criticize, to argue. And in the category of to entertain, to amuse, and to frighten. Again, it's important to look at the type of question stems. And for purpose, sample question stems include, the purpose of this text is to. So the purpose of this text is to. The main reason for writing this text and the purpose of sentence or paragraph number 7, for example, is. So purpose and tone and fact and opinion are areas that will be covered on your entrance test. Please take a few moments and review these skills before testing. The next section that we will cover is main ideas.